The views expressed in the following program are not indicative of the views of His Providence Church or the Center for Disease Control. No Blue Jays were harmed in the recording of this podcast.
Hi, I'm Finn. And I'm Sawyer. And you're listening to Our House, A to Z.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Our House.
If it's morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time to rise and shine.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know when you listen to this. That'd be an interesting poll, though, to find out what time of day people are listening to us.
So we can, welcome everybody.
At the time of day that's more appropriate. Well, we've had some people tell us, we always listen when we're, exercising or jogging. And some people say on their ride to work, they never listen to the last 10 minutes because they have a 10-minute ride. So it's 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, and then you miss the
never
final
hear the ending.
10 minutes. Anyway, so we've just started putting secret coded messages in the ending. So just to make sure that people are listening all the way through.
For the faithful?
Yes, the faithful and the few.
And as of right now, they're predicting a crazy amount of snow that could be sitting on the ground right now.
Yes.
Zach is always a snow optimist, and I'm usually the pessimistic snow report because I feel like
Snow report.
I lived in New England long enough to know that the media just loves to get you all in a tizzy.
Operation Snowball, WPRO.
Yeah, but I'm not in a tizzy, even though I just got a generator yesterday.
I just feel bad because you get so excited. You get so excited. Even about the kids being home. You just prayed that we'd have kids home for a few extra days. And I'm like, they're actually going to be home for 2 weeks. So I'm totally fine if they stay in school for the full week this week.
I know, but don't you miss a little bit of them being home for distance learning?
Nope. No, I do not. I do not miss that.
Oh, sorry.
COVID.
Was that a dry cough?
That was just, actually, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Gross.
Some lemonade in there.
Anyway,
Down the wrong pipe.
If there is a whole bunch of snow, I think it makes it a little more official to be getting ready to go into Christmas next week.
I think so, too.
Which is nice.
Agreed. And the weather's saying there's supposed to be snow on Christmas. There's hardly ever snow on Christmas here.
That's true.
But
I know.
a couple years ago, it actually fell on Christmas Eve.
Magic.
It was the perfect
Magic.
snowfall. I was like, Lord, maybe you're coming back, and this is just the final snowfall. It was so beautiful. And then... it was beautiful on Christmas
morning.
morning.
The snow optimism that you have?
Yeah, I'm like,
that
this
you think
is
that's
it.
the return
He's
of Christ
back.
because there's snow on Christmas.
Come on, Lord. I can't wait. Anyway, well, we hope everybody's doing well out there. We're praying for you guys, and I know that this COVID kick up has not been exciting. A lot of our core leadership and stuff are kind of dropping like flies, and no,
I don't.
Should we not say that?
No, I just don't know if I'd say that they're dropping our core leadership is dropping like flies. I don't think any of that
it's
is
actually
true.
down to just the two of us, and we're locked up in this building. If there's any last survivors out there. No, it's not
That's
that
too
bad.
Much Walking Dead.
It's not that bad. Everybody's
that
just
bad.
really conscious of it again.
Right. It does seem like a ton of people are getting it, but the amount of people that we know that have not had any symptoms is just bizarre. And they're taking tests for routine purposes, or they were exposed to somebody, or they just think it's a good idea to constantly check themselves. They're all coming up positive, and you would never know. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
this is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
It hasn't become any less bizarre in the last 9 months somehow.
Right. And I'm probably not taking it as seriously as I should. So I'm giving this as a disclaimer just to everybody out there to say, if you see me on Sunday, go the other direction. Turn and run. Turn and run. If I start walking your way.
Is that just because of COVID, or is that?
Yeah, just because I'm not, as safe about it as I should be. I'm trying to wear a mask more here and be more conscious of it. But, anyway, I apologize on behalf of the Center for Disease Control. And just to tell everybody out there, I'm sorry for how tough of a year this has been. Not that it's the CDC's fault, but I don't know who else to apologize for. But, it's been a tough year.
Wait, you're apologizing to the CDC?
No, for them, on behalf of them.
Oh.
As a medical professional, I'm just apologizing. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Sorry, guys. No, you know what it is? It's been a tough year. And actually, I kind of wanted to take at least a portion of this podcast and kind of reflect on 2020.
Yeah.
And,
but before we get there, you're always in such a rush to get to the really serious stuff.
Okay.
And
I am, because there is something really serious I want to talk about. I think it's going to take the whole time. And that is the showdown between online shopping and in-store shopping.
Wait, you're going too fast. I didn't get to talk about my bird issue, the winter bird issue, when we were talking about snow and Christmas. It's not boring. It's a serious subject, and I need feedback from people on if there's something wrong with the birds this year.
There's definitely something wrong. I told you, I read that article from the National Geographic about it.
That there's something wrong with the birds?
It's the fires out west. And
I don't know. We have like an unfathomable amount of birds in our yard still.
Blue jays specifically.
Specifically blue jays, like anywhere between like 15 to 20 could just be like sitting in the backyard at one time.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It's the most bizarre thing in the entire world. And it's every day, all day. It's just like
Because historically, the most I've ever seen together are two, and that's rare. Usually it's one because they're territorial.
Exactly.
I thought blue jays were territorial.
Not these blue jays. It's a flock of blue jays.
Interesting.
And I don't know.
They're there.
They're just everywhere.
They're like 15 or something flying around in the backyard.
Yes. Finn counted 24 the other morning.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's probably counting
15.
females too, because they look a little different.
No, it's not. No, there's no females. That's the other weird part about it. Yeah. There's just a ton of male blue jays. Anyway, if you know anything about this,
it's like the P-Town blue jay population flew in. It's like the Key West Blue Jays are up here for their Christmas break.
Anyway, do blue jays fly? I don't even know if they fly south, but
I don't
no
either.
matter what, it's weird. It's a phenomenon, and if you know anything about it, let me know.
A question for all the avid or amateur ornithologists out there. Yes, fill us in. Tell us what's going on.
See, tell me if you've seen 10,000 blue jays anywhere.
And I am under the conviction that it has to do with the fires out west because it's thrown off a lot of their migrating patterns.
Okay, and if that's the case, we won't be the only house that has dozens of blue jays all at one time in their yard.
Maybe Jesus is coming back.
It's the only explanation.
I'd say.
Anyway, the other thing is
What's the other thing
before you got to the Christmas shopping thing was the COVID vaccine. I wanted to talk about the COVID vaccine.
Oh, that's so controversial.
It's so controversial.
We don't talk about controversial things on here.
Ever.
Yeah. So what do you think?
What do you think about the COVID vaccine? Because because we're a church, we're constantly getting can you sign this for me, having a religious exemption from getting the vaccination.
Yeah, and it's not even just that vaccination; it's all
that's
vaccinations.
Any vaccinations.
But
because the flu was mandated. The flu vaccine was mandated in Massachusetts this year.
Oh, a lot of good that did.
Right. So
interesting.
But why?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of conspiracies that we're probably not going to share on here because y'all think we're real crazy. But would you get the vaccine, Zach?
No.
I wouldn't either.
However, and they're telling people, okay, so I was on the phone with my mom yesterday. She has a good friend who's a nurse. This is how these stories start. They're like, my babysitter's great uncle's, next door neighbor. So anyway, apparently the vaccine is not actually a vaccine. It is gene therapy, which is different somehow. Because I think the vaccine, they give you like a dead version of the bacteria or whatever it is. And that's of the virus. They give you a dead
version? I wish that was a live version.
I think it's a dead version or something, and that's why you can sometimes have some minor symptoms.
I don't know if we're qualified to talk about this.
No, I have with us Dr. Fauci today. Dr. Fauci, our guest speaker today. Dr. Fauci,
you can't talk to him. He has COVID.
That's not funny.
It's not, but all of these.
Everybody. Yeah. So no, I think the point is that they had to come up with this vaccine really quickly. So I know I've heard some people say they're not going to take it until they see it go around a while, like the vaccine, because it's like, everybody was in this mad rush. My thoughts are, they had the whole world working on this. Like every resource known to the global medical profession was all these pharmaceuticals. There were 4 big ones or something, companies who were out
trying to be the first one to come up with it.
Yeah, and so what I would say is because of the competition and because of the fierceness and the fastness, it would still be under probably more scrutiny than ever. Like there's more exposure. You're not like trying to find this thing for something only a few people have and, you can come up with something and not everybody's going to care that much about it. But it's like the whole world has COVID or is at risk of getting it. And so the vaccine is under so much more scrutiny. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but really it only has to even work for like a minimal population because it doesn't even have to perform that perfectly well in order for you to make trillions of dollars.
So you think it's about the money?
Oh, everything's about the money. It's America.
Yeah, I just think that it needs to come back to, there's some common sense involved, and then there's like walk by the Spirit, right? Walk in the Spirit and not in the flesh. And so...
Yeah, I can't buy that they haven't been able to come up with cures for so many things, and all of a sudden they have a vaccination
again
for something in 1 year.
Because of what I just said. Because of what I just said. You had more people, more great minds working on it.
I know, but think about other vaccines that have come out for... whatever it was, wasn't it? Was it polio? When they came out with the polio vaccine and everybody got rickets?
Oh, I don't remember that, but thank you for sharing.
I think that's historically accurate. I have no idea.
Sounds right.
Again, we are totally unqualified to talk about this, but these are the conversations that we have.
We should rename this podcast that we're just in that profession that day, and we're going to talk about it like we know what we're talking about. The disclaimer here should be, we don't know anything about this. We're just talking about it.
But if you know Zach or I well at all, you know that we confidently talk about anything and everything.
That's why people listen to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure if that pokes holes in my credibility on a Sunday morning or not, but
you're so confident.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't be getting the vaccine. I guess I understand if you were maybe really at an extreme risk.
Or
if you caught it,
absolutely.
But we're not in that population, and so obviously we're going to have a different thought process about getting it.
Right. They are recommending that young women who are pre-childbearing age, they are recommending that. I think that they hold off. I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. But
because they don't know what the reproductive risks are.
But then they say they're mandating it for all healthcare workers, and so I mean, think about how many healthcare workers are younger women.
Right.
A lot.
That's true.
A lot of CNAs and nurses and. I don't know.
And when we say they, it's just whatever we just heard last.
Right.
Or read last or whatever. So really, there's no credibility. But I just think that you've got to go with your gut on this. And, I think for elderly people, if that vaccine has 50 or 60 year side effects, it's not going to matter to somebody who's 75.
Right.
If it gives you another 20 years and, of life where you're not on a ventilator or having issues and, I'm like, well, why not take it? As an elderly person, why not take it?
Speaking of conspiracies, and this is another reason I'm not getting it, is that we heard, and this is another good thing I need you to get feedback from. If you got the 2019 flu vaccine, then I heard a conspiracy that those people were either more susceptible to getting COVID or an even deeper conspiracy is that the 2019 flu vaccine was laced with COVID.
Barbaric!
Yeah. Wow.
Barbaric!
Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. I don't even know if Ben's going to find a sound effect to play for that. He will.
Anyway,
dun, dun, dun.
I am interested to know if you have never had a flu vaccine and you did get COVID.
Or I think it is likely that, like you said, though, that the symptoms could be worse because maybe that explains why so many people have COVID and are asymptomatic.
Because they had a flu vaccine?
No, because they didn't get one. They didn't get a vaccine.
Anyway.
Like the vaccine.
We're going to need to gather some more information to finish that conversation. Yeah. So let us know.
And
send in your health reports to info@hpc.church.
And that podcast will only be available on our dark web edition. We're not going to make that open to the general public.
Oh my gosh, we should probably stop talking about this. Okay.
We probably should.
All right, tell us about
It's so fun.
Tell us. I don't know if it's fun for the people listening.
Yeah, well, they know when to shut it off.
All right, tell us about your online Christmas shopping.
I just am interested. Issues. I'm interested in how people are doing with this.
First of all, can you move your feet away from me?
Oh, okay.
Zach poured gasoline all over his boots, and my eyes are burning. I
was doing a Burning Man experiment. No,
I can't.
I'm sorry.
It's getting stuck in my throat.
Oh,
the fumes.
So the deal is that I'm wondering where people are at with this because I am and Ashley and I are probably a great we're probably a great perspective variance on this because
pretty much everything.
Well, okay. You love to do online shopping.
I do all online shopping.
You do, and now with the advent of the groceries and all that stuff, it's like everything is on the front porch now. I don't know how I feel about that because I've helped a lot of these people unload the groceries, and I'm kind of like,
It's very nice of you.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, now I'm getting to see who's like
Bringing our groceries.
And I had a long conversation with the last guy who did it, and he said the first bags he ever filled were for Paris Hilton's mom, and she gave him a really good tip. That's true.
You didn't tell me he said that.
I know.
You just told me he was really nice. You
I know.
I was in a Paris Hilton connection.
I was in shock. So I feel like I have a Paris Hilton connection now because the guy who bagged his mom's groceries also...
Paris Hilton's mom shops at our Hannaford's?
Nope. It was when he worked in Las Vegas. Ah. Yeah. So interesting story there. But yeah, anyway, the point is that Ashley loves online shopping.
I do love online shopping.
And I don't know if it's because the acts of service registers on your love language giftings, and so the fact that people are delivering your
you're actually thinking way higher of me than you should be. It's really just like,
why don't you tell us about it?
I just like to sit on the couch and be cozy and shop online. I like to look through stuff. I like to take my time. I don't like being cold, so I don't like really going out very often.
And there you have it.
And then carrying all the stuff, lugging it back to the car.
The hermit monologues.
This is the deal. I'm fine once I get into the store if there's not a lot of people. I'm fine if I go in and then I like to look around, like Target and stuff. I do like to go in and like look around.
This time of year, they're like...
I do not like that, Sam. I don't like all the people crowding, the lines, the mean people.
Yeah.
And I also like keeping tabs on my cart and cost, because sometimes I feel like, when we go to a store, I'm infamous for putting lots of stuff in the cart, and as I'm walking towards the cash register, I'm unloading all of the stuff I put into the cart on the way to the cash register.
That's one of the things that I've been really praying for you about.
I know. It drives Zach crazy. He thinks I should just buy stuff, and I'm more frugal. So when I have an online cart, right up till the last second, I can be deleting items out of my cart, and it's not inconveniencing any store worker.
You have like buyer's remorse. Like you buy it and you're like, I shouldn't have bought that. I have didn't buy it remorse, where I'll leave and I'll be like, gosh, I should have bought that. It was the last one. Or,
That's why we're a good match. Zach's somebody who, if he likes a shirt, he buys it in 12 colors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not I.
Well, anyway.
Zach was just saying this morning, you said, I haven't gotten you anything for Christmas. Or I haven't gotten you very much for Christmas or something. And I said, I actually find more joy in you not spending money, as crazy as it sounds, than actually buying stuff.
That sounds like demonic oppression.
It's not. It's just...
Anyway, I love to do gifts. I love to give gifts. I love to get gifts, and
I love to give gifts too.
And it's tough because I do love to buy you stuff. So the thing is that I would be interested to hear from everybody out there. I say that like they're going to call in right now, so I don't think that's going to happen.
That would be fun. A live version.
We should do that. Yeah.
That would be really fun.
We could easily do that. Yeah, that'd be fun. We should talk to Ben about that. The thing is this. Are you really spending less money by shopping online? Because here's why. When you have to get out and go to the store, and I'll talk about why I prefer in-store shopping. But before that, when you have to get out and go to the store, you got to like get all bundled up because it's freaking freezing outside, and you have to go through all the effort of waiting in line and doing the whole thing. You're not just going to go flippantly go do that again and again and again and again. You're going to make your list. You're going to check it twice. You're going to make sure you know who's naughty and nice. And the problem is that you are online shopping like around the clock. So like you can keep checking your cart because the total is like, oh, I really wanted to stay under $130 on this. And so then you empty some things out. But then when you just get right back on, like after the next mealtime or at the next commercial break, then I feel like at that point you're going to just do it again. So I don't feel for that reason that online shopping is really that much of a money saver because it's too accessible.
Okay. I can get it that way, but it's not just the money saving, it's the convenience factor.
Right.
It's both of those things. And I feel like you have the ability to see so many more options. It's like, okay, I want to buy this particular sweater. Now I can find out if there's any better deals anywhere instead of just like, oh, I'm in this store and there it is, so I'm just going to buy it and never know if there was a coupon. You got to look for the coupons online.
I'm sorry, what's a coupon?
Yeah, exactly. Promotion code.
Oh, that. Okay, now I get it.
And then it's just sent right to the house.
Yeah, I do get it. But then what happens when the thing
free
comes?
Delivery.
What happens when the thing comes with like a giant, because you did buy a gift for somebody this year and it came in and had like a giant black stain on the sweatshirt sleeve. and then it's lingering around our house, and it's on the center console.
House, you bring it to the post office to return it.
And I waited way longer in the post office line to mail the stupid thing back than you ever would have in the line at an actual store to buy it.
That is not true.
And then you could have picked one that didn't have a giant stain on the sleeve. So here's my thing. I love to touch stuff. I love to walk into a store. I want to pick it up. I want to know how big it really is. I want to know if it's heavy. I want to know how well it's made. I want to know things that you can't tell necessarily by just reading, the write-up on the item.
I think that's fine for some things.
And I like supporting small businesses.
Please. Now, is Tractor Supply considered a small business?
No, local businesses, we'll say that. Mm-hmm. They all need jobs, like all these people. It's like, why not help them out instead of just somebody in a factory somewhere? It's probably automated by now. Anyway,
Zachary, where are you shopping?
Do you want robots
why don't you tell the audience? No, but what I do want you is to tell.
Do you have any idea what the impact that makes on the unemployment rate? What I want you to do is tell
our audience here about all of the small businesses you shop at.
I do shop at small businesses, like the music store across the street. Anytime I can buy something from them, I do, instead of order it online or whatever. The problem is they usually don't have what we need, but I mean, I still try. No. Any of them, whatever.
Walmart's not considered a small business, Zach.
Well, I mean, it has small aspects. So the point is...
Like small in quality.
No, it's great value.
Small in health safety.
Anyway, so small in the chance that I'll go and not get COVID. So, no, the thing that I can't stand about online shopping, if I had to boil it down to anything...
You already did. You've told us.
Is this. Reviews. Online reviews. Online reviews.
Oh, jeez.
I'm done. I'm done. Okay, I've had it.
Yep.
I've had it. I can't read another review.
I'm an avid reviewer. Not reviewer, rabid reader. Reviewer reader. I read the reviews. I'm a review reader. I'm a review reader.
Have you read the reviews on our podcast? I don't know if there are any. The point is this.
In case there are any bad ones, you all should just go write something nice so I don't get so
I cannot stand the reviews, okay?
I can't either.
Occasionally you'll find something and it's like, oh, these reviews are actually helpful, but it's rare.
Right,
usually
like these curtains were a little pinker than it looked online.
Okay.
And that's helpful.
Yeah, except that is on somebody else's eyesight.
Oh, jeez.
Like you don't know what their cones and stuff in their colors and their eyes, their rods. You don't know anything about that. So anyway, the point is that I'm reading reviews yesterday or 2 days ago or something, and I'm trying to figure out what generator that I want to get for the house because of the snowstorm that's coming. That now is probably
because we're
here.
Those people.
Yeah, and it was probably like 2 inches or something. But I have a generator just in case. You live in Rehoboth, so it's kind of like a necessity almost. The guy gives it 2 stars. Actually, I think it was less than 2 stars, and he said the picture I saw had. The handlebar that you wheel it with was black, and the case bar was orange, and I got it, and it was opposite. The thing was orange, and the other thing was black. And I'm like, now how does that impact the functionality of whether or not this generator can power up your refrigerator in a snowstorm?
Some people should lose their ability to review.
Agreed. And that's the problem. And you know what another person said? He gave it 2 stars because he needed to borrow his neighbor's tin snips to take it out of the package. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm reading these and I'm thinking, this answers the question, who voted for Biden? I feel
Zachary.
like can we say that on
here?
No. I feel like I'm reading these and I'm like, okay, all right. I get it that mattered to you, but you should be embarrassed to let the rest of the world know that it mattered to you.
Right.
Yeah. So
you're like...
Anyway, I can't stand it.
A pansy and didn't have snips to do that?
Well, I mean, not having snips is one thing, but making it that's the deal breaker for you of whether or not this generator was the right one. So now you review
the product as 1 star.
Right.
Because
it was
of
the wrong
packaging.
Color. Yeah.
Right.
It's not even a color mattered thing. Yeah. So anyway.
All the time. It's terrible.
Can't do it. Can't take it.
Can't do it.
Anyway, all done. On to the serious stuff.
Stop reviewing products based on their packaging or the delivery.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
You've seen those.
Please.
They give them terrible reviews because
the package was late.
Delivery.
Yep.
What in the world?
The package was ripped. The box was dented. And so we review the product with 1 star.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
Because it
Stop
was
doing
their
it.
fault. Yeah.
If that's you, stop doing it.
Stop. In the name of Jesus. All right. So on
Now, what
to
do you have that's serious to talk about? So
serious stuff. Okay. And for those of you who have already shut this off because you already did your commute to work and commute back, you're going to miss out on this because this is the serious stuff. Seriously, though, let's talk about those Blue Jays. No, I want to talk about
Don't mock me
2020.
with the Blue Jays. It's weird.
It is weird. I want to talk about 2020 in review. I want to make sure that we can move forward learning what we were supposed to learn from this year. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I think this is really important, and it's a biblical principle that the Lord will not take you where you want to be or where he wants you to be until you've learned what you were supposed to learn where you are. If you don't believe me, ask any Jew that wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. The whole point that took them, an entire generation long to do is because they hadn't learned yet what they were supposed to learn. Oof. And so I just feel like it's so important for us as believers who have been dealt an incredible blow. Some of us to our finances, some of us to our jobs, some of us to our
health,
peace of mind, our health, our families, our patterns and ways of life, and whatever else you could say. I want to be able to stand before the Lord, all of us, and say, we got it, God. We got it. Okay, we got it. And let's move into 2021. Whatever it brings, let's move in knowing that we passed the quiz at the end of this chapter. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's so important because if the Lord has his mind set on you needing to learn a specific lesson, you want to learn it as fast as you can so you don't have to repeat really hard things.
Yes.
So many times.
Exactly.
And why do you have me here again? I can't believe the Lord's I can't believe I'm here again. And it's well, maybe we didn't fully learn
right
what we were supposed to learn,
and this
because
is something,
we were too focused on
and this is
everything
something
else.
heavy on Ashley and our mind heart because I feel like we do a lot of counseling with people who are in repeat situations. And it's history's repeating itself again. And you're seeing that play out and you're like, oh man, my heart just breaks because the Lord wanted to teach you something or show you something or bring you to a place of maturity or a place of whatever, of priority or whatever. And you missed an opportunity to do that. And here's the thing. I think that if we're not careful, we can easily all go get a vaccine and move on with life without really having discovered what it was God wanted to show us.
Right.
Or at least having allowed it to really sink in and take it to heart.
Right. It's good.
So if you had to, babe, narrow it down to 3 things that you have learned that you feel like, not just 3 things I've learned, that whatever. I mean,
Wait,
things.
you're going to tell me what I can't have learned?
No, I think you learned a lot of things, but what do you think God wanted to show you over 2020?
I don't know. I think some things are probably similar to other people's, your priorities and what we're spending our time doing or investing in. And, that there are so many good things that you're doing, but how do you still prioritize even the good things? What's necessary?
Yeah. I mean, if there was ever a year to come out of with New Year's resolutions, it's 2020.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I want to capitalize on is that let's not make this about New Year's resolutions. Let's make it about, okay, the Lord taught me something last year.
Yeah.
Now, how am I going to move into a new 365 days with that under my belt?
Right.
With that tool in my tool belt,
Yeah. I mean, I think positionally, being in leadership, I think it made a little clearer, not in a great way, but kind of where people are spiritually.
Sure.
I think sometimes we kind of had a different idea of where people were, and then you kind of see them come into either hard situations or when push comes to shove, where's your faith? You know what I mean? All these different things, seeing where people's faith is, and not in a judgmental way, but more of a spiritual kind of all right, where do we need to step up? Where do we need to be more focused? And I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that is across the board. I think for leadership, you feel it if you're out there listening and you are in some leadership capacity or position, then you carry that weight a little bit more. But I really think that some version of that is for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And then thirdly, I would say probably just the reminder that we're so like the scripture that says we're just like a vapor in the wind, and and you have this like short time here on earth, and you don't know like when that's going to end. And we've seen a lot of loss this year. I mean, not as much as we've seen in previous years, but for us personally. But where are you pouring out in like the time that you have here? Like who are you impacting for the kingdom, and how are you like making a difference, and not so much just like self-focused. I think there's so much self-focus in my life and my family and my this and my that, and all of that.
That's actually one thing that I feel that COVID helped with. That it created a culture where it could be polarizing. It could, in fact, push people to be more self-aware than they ever were. Like, now I'm looking out for number one. Now I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to make sure that I'm never in any environment where I'm going to get this thing. But I like the way the headmaster of our kids' school, he talks about it, and he had it written up at the beginning of this year that the regulations surrounding the COVID, in order for the kids to come back for everyday in-person learning, he called it a social contract. And the idea behind it is, as believers, we need to be as, if not more, aware of our community as we are of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so the selfishness piece that you were just talking about, I think if COVID had a good impact on people, one of the ways that could have happened was to help people become increasingly aware of the vulnerabilities of others around them.
Right. You think about, remember when like the mask thing, and it was like the N95 or something was like the only mask. And so like people were like ravaging places to make sure I got them, and like all of these things. And I know there was like a ton of people like good-hearted there that were like getting them to pass out to like the vulnerable and stuff. But there was so much like me focused this past year. And
what about like the toilet paper thing when that first happened?
Yes, and you had like the same. We were talking to, who was telling us this? Somebody was telling us that they talked to like a person at Walmart or something, because everybody could only get like one package of toilet paper, like one bulk size thing of toilet paper, whatever it was. It might have even been Sam's Club or whatever it's called now, BJ's. And you're limited to one. But they said it was like the same person that would be in line every single day to like buy the biggest supply of toilet paper. Yeah. Like every single day it's the same person, because they can't tell them that they can't. And you have like families and people with no toilet paper, because there's just like this selfish piece. And that I think was a hard thing to learn from 2020, is that, I mean, you knew people were like self-centered and selfish, but for some reason, like this past year, between like, just like how ugly.
Right.
A lot of it was.
It does. It brings out the best and the worst in everybody. Every crisis does.
Right.
And true. So, a takeaway is just to say, hey, what did this bring out in me? And if it brought out bad things, if it brought out, wow, I realized that staying at home like 2 extra days a week has shown me that my marriage is really not in a good place. And that's what I need to work on. Okay, thank you, Lord, for backing me into a corner where I didn't have an option to hide from this or deny it anymore. Now I have to face it and say, okay, what do I need to do to deal with this? And I think some people are already there where they're working on that. They're in counseling now, or they're doing whatever because their routines had allowed them to, live in denial. And, going into a new year, I'd say, wait a minute, how do I not only like adjust and tweak and fix whatever trajectory I was on, but how do I keep it so that I'm not just solving my old problems, but I'm preventing myself proactively from, repeating that.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, just some thoughts from the desk here.
Is that what you learned?
What?
Those are your top 3 things. What are your top 3 things that you learned?
I'm not giving mine.
Why?
I don't feel comfortable sharing them.
Gosh.
No, you know what? Okay, I'll talk about a couple of things. I think that somehow working on a team and how seeing everybody's response to this, we have a great leadership team here, and, watching everybody navigate it and be careful, it has really, I've developed a deeper appreciation for people who aren't just having to make the decision for them and their families, but they're having to make the decision for more. And to me, that is an indicator of real, like, God-given leadership.
Yeah.
You're not just in a job that you can opt out of now. You're saying, well, you could, But when you're watching leaders, they're instead of going backwards and moving away from this, they're running at it. And they're saying, hey, we're presented with a unique set of obstacles now. We're presented with some serious issues now that is gonna affect everyone very differently. That is a nightmare for leadership. That's a nightmare for administration.
Right.
And for anybody out there in any position of leadership, your organization, maybe this is an opportunity for you to get before the Lord and say, wow, thank you, God. Because up until now, it is very likely that your organization has been able to be led with critical mass decisions that just everybody's kind of in the same place, or all of our customers or all of our clients or all of our attendees. Well, we're an inner city church, or we're a country church, or we're a suburban church, or we're a lower income church, or whatever. And so you kind of see everything in these big blanket broad strokes. COVID eliminated that like luxury. And to sit around our leadership table here and talk about this organization, talk about this church with people whose hearts are to really meet the needs, the specific needs of people, I've been really blown away. And it's not just the folks in leadership here, but other leaders in the church who are serving in other capacities beyond us. I'm watching people's lives, sacrifices be made so that they can continue to serve people in all of their myriad of places.
Right. And I think that's so true. And even everybody going above and beyond and really putting their own health at risk when we didn't know exactly what was going on. People are putting their health and their family, like, okay, well, we'll do this at a risk to us, but for the spiritual health of hundreds and hundreds of people.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean?
I love it. It makes me so... I feel so blessed.
Right. Not in an ignorant way,
No.
like everybody was like we've been super cautious and very inconvenient way and has worked really hard. But saying like, I'm going to put the spiritual health and really what we were just talking about, like putting the cause of Christ like above this physical temporal world.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Good stuff.
Good.
All right. Well, let's close in prayer. And thanks for joining us another week here. So, God, we just thank you so much, Lord, for in your grace and mercy, Lord, teaching us and showing us and revealing to us really hard things that we needed to see and we needed to know. And so, God, I do pray, Lord, first of all, for all those people who give bad reviews on Amazon based on delivery times and, packaging. Just kidding. But Lord, seriously, we do ask that we would not be ignorant, Lord, but that we would arise to the occasion of maturity. Father, that we would be able to press into a new, fresh start, a fresh year. Lord, not just with, I got a vaccine and now we can just get back to life as usual, but Lord, instead, that we would allow your truth and revelation to penetrate into the deepest parts of our lives, the places that will really change the acidity of the soil of our hearts, God, so that new things can grow that you've wanted to see growing for a long time. So we trust you with that, Father, and we thank you for it, and we just give you all the glory and the honor. It's in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Guys, next time you hear for us, it's going to be Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. We have a podcast coming out Christmas Day.
What will it be about? We don't know.
Oh, well, who knows? But probably more serious items than we talked about today.
If you have any good ideas, you can email us, info@hvc.church, and we'll see you next week.
Love ya. Bye.
This is Messer. And I'm Willa. This is our house from A to Z. Thanks for coming over.
Snow report.
Operation Snowball. WPRO.
We'll do it live. No press. No press.
Casey counts them down.
Good morning. I'm Wilford Brimley, and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about Rosebud.